stitch. Come on! I just love. Good morning. Welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. Can you guys see that back there? Story time. So we're in the middle of this rain situation, this severe-ish weather that's happening for several days. The biggest threat to our area really is flash flooding. Our land is handling the rain quite well, except for some of these thunderstorms coming through are quite severe. Yesterday, when we went to bed, I noticed that there was a good line coming through Katie's, Kentucky. That's very, very, very close to us. And I mentioned to leave out, Katie's is getting a lot of wind, but it looks like it's going right over us. However, I'm not that experienced at all at looking at radar, but I do know, I think, a little bit more than the average person. And I noticed there was this little tiny blip at the base of the storm, really close to our house. And my brain, because I tend to catastrophize things that have to do with weather, thought, ooh, I wonder if that is a little bit of rotation at the south end of the storm. I don't know if that's what it was, but I do know that we were almost asleep. It was 11 o'clock p.m. and I just heard big noise. And Levi jumped out of bed. He looked out the window. He saw the dog's food bowl go flying, and we figured that's all it was because, you know, it was a metal bowl and it just went clanging down the driveway from the wind. But no, we had a lot of stuff under the carport fall down, a lot of heavy stuff. So we have this dryer that got put here summertime last year, and I had stacked some of my beekeeping equipment on it. And there's also some gas cans and things that line up here. Well, apparently some kind of wind came through here, and this stuff is not light. Like, this is a Flow Hive Flow Super. One of the reasons that I don't use this on my bees anymore is because of how heavy it is. And it flew from over there. Here's the thing, admittedly, some of it might have been kind of top heavy, but I feel like if the wind had just blown it over, it should be more here and less over there. I mean, it's like 20 feet away from the original location. That there is about what it looked like. And this gas can, which is empty, was like right here. I assume the diesel can was over here too. So it didn't just blow over, like tip.
No, it didn't.
It went, like it lifted.
Yeah.
Farm kids. Anyways, our carport itself is tied down to the tractor. We did this and we do this during severe weather season because this thing has tried to move in the past. But I'd love to see if anything else was super disturbed. It doesn't really look like it from here, but I had the doors open to my greenhouse last night, and my green stalks that are in there are not tied down. I can see the strawberry one, that one's standing. Got some more storms coming. I can hear the thunder. See, this is how we strap down our outside green stalks because we know the weather around here. There's 3 T-posts and a strap. It works. That moved. Everything looks fine and normal in here, which is good. I literally had just moved the seedlings out from these little seedling tents that I have over here, which are strapped to the greenhouse. So I'm glad to see these are okay. So either it was a crazy amount of straight line wind at the perfect angle to throw those things, or my theory is we had a spin up like EF0 kind of tornado situation happening. Okay, so I have all my beehives. Goodness, wouldn't that be awful? Even the swarm that I caught the other day, they're in a plastic box. There's a little purple lidded box over there. There's fresh swarm of bees in there. It's gonna be a little bit hard to tell what's going on, but this swarm catcher has spun several times. Was that crazy last night? So the last bit of all of this rainfall that we're getting has just come through, and I wanted to give you guys a snapshot of what happens on our land when we get a lot of rain like this. We had 9.5 inches of rainfall, and then we got 2 more rounds of very heavy rain, and it's not over yet. But the last major bit just blew through. It is getting a lot cooler here. You can see how fast the clouds are moving. So yeah, it's wet. We're doing okay in here. Not perfect in my low spot, but not horrible. Hi. It's dark in here. You guys get to go outside tomorrow, okay? They feel bad that they're cooped up. Guys, see a little Lightning in here. I moved him in here. Lightning was one of the Nigerian dwarves that was born in fall time, and he has been living out with the bucks and doing fine, but for some reason it looks like they were bullying him out of the buck house, and he was soaked when I came down to milk, so I moved him in here. Hey girls, we're gonna go check it out outside. So we have a pretty big pond at this end of our property, and our property very slightly slopes down towards it, and I think that that was on purpose. This pond was man-made. All of this was tobacco farmland, so I think they probably put the pond in so that they could actually plant here, because you know, I mean, this is a mess. So there's a low spot here, and it travels out that way to the ditch. There's our pond. So this is separate from the pond. Okay, so here's where it all kind of collects before it gets to the pond, streams out this way, and it's level with the ditch. This is why I mentioned that to grade our land kind of doesn't make sense, because it's pretty much as low as it can get without just going over the road. It is going over the road down here. Yeah, all the runoff from our property in the ditch, crossing the road. And then this is what our pond overflow does underneath the bridge and out to the road. Yeah, we're level with the ditch and the road again. Down that way, a little ways, there's a creek, and this is all going down in there, but in the area, all the creeks and streams are overflowing, so we're having a little bit of flooding. We are, but it's nothing catastrophic here. Our home is fine, the barn is fine, and we are certainly grateful for that. Hello, hello. It is Sunday, and actually today I had planned to cream separate probably anywhere from about 10 to 12 gallons of milk. I have been hoarding milk in the last little bit. I made the mistake of buying more of these gallon-sized jars, and I know better, because if I have places to store the milk, I will hoard it away, but that's okay. Cream separating day will happen, but it started to rain again, and all of my milk is in one of our outdoor sheds, and I did not want to be trucking through the rain with tons of milk. It's fine, it can wait, but I did need to make a little bit of space in the fridge inside my house, so I took out 2 gallons. I can probably only fit about 1.5 gallons in here. We'll see, but I want to make mozzarella today because I need to process all of this milk into something. So we've sold some baby goats and brought other goats up onto the milk stand, and I've weaned some of my bottle baby goats, so we have quite a lot of milk coming in every day. It's about 2.5 to 3 gallons every day, and there's quite a lot of cream on top. Goat's milk will separate into a cream line with some skim underneath. It doesn't ever do it fully. That's why I used a cream separator when I want to get the cream all the way out. But even if it's just been sitting a little bit, this here is from the 2nd. Today is the 6th, so this has only been 4 days. You can kind of see the cream on top. This will help us see it a little bit better. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, I thought that was cool. So, woo! Make a mess or it doesn't count. This is me every single day. All right, yeah, I'm probably only gonna fit 1.5 gallons. See, no big deal, back in business. I do have a whole step-by-step video on how to make mozzarella, and I will link that. And just so you know, I will do that in all of my like weekly compilation videos. If I have a video that relates or helps clarify something or gives instructions like a recipe or whatever, I will be linking those in the description box. So be on the lookout for that kind of thing. But we'll still go through the steps pretty quickly. Right now, the milk is fridge temp. I need to bring it up to 90. Pretty sure the citric acid goes in before it's warm. It may not matter. It's been a little while since I've made mozzarella, but I need 2¼ teaspoons of citric acid. I feel like I don't exactly know what the citric acid does. Obviously, it will bring up the acidity of the milk. But as far as I know, the citric acid is required for a decent mozzarella, but I don't really know that. I got this big bag of citric acid from Walmart ages ago. I think sometime in 2020, so I've had it for 5 years. Kind of crazy. Okay. I had the thermometer only go up to 88 before it beeped at me, because when I turn off the stove and leave my pot on the burner, the residual heat is going to bring it up to 90 degrees. And you probably don't have to be exact with it anyway. I have seen people make plenty of cheese by just testing it with their finger and say, oh, that seems warm enough. With this, we're not trying to culture any bacteria really, but a lot of times rennet will work better if the milk is a little bit warmer. And so I've got rennet in here. There's 3/4 teaspoons of rennet in some water. Just gonna mix that in and get it to be well incorporated, and then we're going to put a lid on this and let it set for 5 minutes. That's going to bring the curd together. I decided to bust out my mixer and make some pizza dough because I didn't have a plan for dinner. Might as well do some pizza for making mozzarella. So I've had this chilling in the refrigerator for a couple hours so that it can harden up enough to grate pretty well and put on the pizza. It's still kind of soft. That's our mozzarella, very fresh. I'm just going to use the bigger side of my box grater. Some of it shreds, some of it crumbles. It all will melt really nicely on the pizza. Definitely running low on oregano, but it is oregano season. There's lots of it in the garden right now. I don't want to go out in the rain for fresh oregano. This is a little bit easier to deal with right now anyway. A little granulated garlic. Pork sausage that I just cooked up with some broccoli leaves that we harvested over the winter time. I put away 2-gallon jars full, like cram-packed full of the broccoli leaves, and I've been adding that to a bunch of different dishes as a little bit of a nutritional boost and a greens boost. And really, I had used to buy like a lot of parsley for the same effect essentially, but this used up something that I grew here and probably has more nutrition in it. Hello and happy Monday. Last night's dinner was really good. I don't honestly think we're going to be getting to cream separating today, possibly this evening. Levi is inside doing schoolwork with the kids and the cream separator is really loud. So I'm going to at least put it off until tonight. But another thing that's happening tonight is a freeze. So all this weather that we just got brought in some cool weather, as it often does. And I do have some things in the garden that are frost tender that I would like to cover. Right now it's the heat of the day, so the soil is at the warmest that it's going to be today. So I'd kind of like to capture that underneath some buckets and things for the things that are frost tender. Now, none of the stuff out here that is frost tender I planted. Some of it volunteered, but I was very excited to see it, and I would like for it to survive. Also, asparagus spears are not frost tolerant, so I'm going to be picking all of these. Even if they're not super tall, they're not going to survive the night. What I do with these when I have small harvest of asparagus, as the season is just picking up, oftentimes we get just little bits of asparagus here and there. I just stick them in a mason jar on the windowsill, a lot like you would a bouquet of flowers, and collect them over the course of a few days, and then I can usually have enough to cook up for a dinner, at least to like supplement a dinner. This here is a volunteer squash that I really want to see what it is, so I'd like to keep it around. There's actually some potatoes coming up too, and the greens on potatoes are not frost tolerant either. Really, these could freeze and die back, and I'm sure the potatoes would be fine. This guy wouldn't be fine. So I'm just gonna cover it up. Since we are getting a couple nights of freeze, but it's going to be fine during the day, what I'll do is when the freezing weather, the freezing cool air has passed tomorrow morning, I'll just take that bucket off, give it some sunshine for a little while, put it back on, and then hopefully the next day will be good. Over here, there's quite a few volunteer tomatoes that I think I want, so I'm going to cover this whole little bit. And I'm not supposed to enter the garden without doing some weeding. So let's go ahead and do that. We've had a lot of rain. The plants that I want to eat love rain, but it seems like the weeds love the rain more. I don't know why that is.
Outside could be an assistance.
I don't want them on the stove. I got one more on the front porch. Can you grab it?
Okay.
Thanks. 1, 2, 3.
It'll be 15 with this one.
15. I said 12 earlier. What's a few gallons? This is what I meant earlier when I said I will put the asparagus in something to kind of like bulk up whatever it is. So this is the asparagus from the last few days. Some butter, which we're going to make more with all that goat milk. know if this is going to show up, but I talked earlier about how the cream on goat's milk will separate if you let it sit long enough. This has actually been sitting for about a month, which a lot of the times our milk doesn't start to sour until around about a month or 5 weeks. We keep our refrigerator very, very cold. And we also noticed that our milk lasted longer when we added the cobalt mineral to our barn. But in order to use the cream separator, the machine, to get as much cream out of the milk as possible, I do have to heat the milk up to 100 degrees. Even if the milk does start to sour, it means that the cream that I get off of the milk is a little bit sour. And when raw milk goes sour, it's just culturing. The bacteria inside the milk is eating up the sugars that are in the milk, so it turns it a little bit acidic, but there's also a lot more bacteria, the beneficial bacteria in the milk at that point and then in the cream. So technically it is cultured cream. Look at that big gob of cream. Isn't that amazing? And butter made from cultured cream happens to be my favorite. So it definitely works out that sometimes it takes me a little while to get to all of this milk. Like I mentioned, some of this milk is a month old. This is not the only bit of milk that I've gotten, bit of excess milk that I've gotten in the last month. I have actually made probably 3 cheeses in that time, and tons of yogurt and chev. So this is just what I have allowed to sit. A lot of times when I go to make cheeses, I don't really want to use the older milk because the more acidic that the milk is, it can be a little bit more of a crumbly cheese when I want a creamy cheese. So I try to use the freshest milk possible in cheese making. So let's say I have 10 gallons of milk in the fridge. This pot only fits 7 gallons. So I'll grab the 7 freshest gallons and then leave the 3 oldest back for this purpose. Good morning. So I don't think we actually got a frost last night, which is good. The frost can't settle if the air is moving, from what I understand. And so the air has been moving. It's been just a little bit breezy, which is quite common for spring for us. And so no frost, but I think we still have one more night to worry about it. However, it's sunny and bright. The ground is starting to dry up because of that. And I want to get these baby goats moved out into their space. This is the area that I have to move them in, and I'm gonna see if they will just follow me. I have this little camera. This is the camera that I have for my second channel. It's SNS Animal POV. I put this camera on some of our animals, mostly right now goats and cats, and show you their perspective of our farm. It's really fun. So hopefully we'll get 2 points of view of them, hopefully, following me over to their new space. Now there's only one who I think isn't really going to be following me a lot. That's Elliot. He's been a little bit skittish, so I'm going to pick him up and then I'll walk and we'll see what the other ones do. All right, who wants the camera? You? Okay. I might have to make this bigger, sure enough. Hold on. I underestimated how, oh my goodness. You're massive, dude. Okay. Okay, let's go. It's gonna be crazy. Come on. Come on. Come on, babies. It's okay. It's okay. Hi. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. need a new pallet back here. Ooh. Come here, bear. Come here. Come on, buddy. That's the wrong way. Lightning. Okay, let's see. Come here. Come on. Come on. All right, come on, Teddy. Got a few of them. There we go. The one with the camera is too scared to come out. Attaboys. Come here. Come on. Good job. He's like, no, this is good out here. I'm good right here. There we go. Everyone's moved in. I am gonna go and get them some hay, and I need to watch them for a little bit of bloat. They haven't had fresh grass like this in some time. I'm gonna leave the camera on Ruckus, and if he takes a good video, I'll post it to the other channel. I'll make sure to link that. This is a place you don't see us super often. Actually, truthfully, I'm not in the car that much. I don't go very many places, but I ran out of goat feed. We may or may not film inside the feed store today. I've done that before. They have changed things quite a lot over there. But on the way to the Amish feed store is an Amish nursery where we can get all kinds of different plants for very inexpensive. We just went to the garden center at Home Depot yesterday. We were picking up my Mother's Day present because it was on sale. It's not because Mother's Day is this month or anything, but I noticed that the tomato plants, like not very big, maybe yay big, were like $5 each, which is insane. I don't need any tomato plants or anything. I don't need any plants at all, but does that mean I'm not going to go to the nursery? Absolutely not. I know the kids want to get some stuff for their garden. We did end up frosting this morning, and some of the things that I didn't cover did not survive, so it was a good call to cover what I did. I'm still not sure if that volunteer squash survived it. We're gonna have to check on it later, but we're off to the nursery now. It's been quite a few days since we got any rain. This is the flooding situation. Normally, this field, it's got a culvert underneath of the road, and it does spit out over there, but it still can't keep up and it will run over the road. But it looks like we have an entire road today, which is great. Well, not entire, but most of the roads here, which is awesome. So the greenhouse actually did not let us film, which I thought that might happen. A lot of times in the Amish community, they have to get to know you so that they trust you to do things like that. Like, I can't just say, hey, I'd like to film. I promise I won't film any people, because they don't want you to film them at all. And if they don't trust you to do that, they don't know you, then they're gonna say no. It was actually funny the way that she said no. I said, hey, I'd like to film. I'll put it online and advertise for you and maybe get you guys some more English customers, but if you're not okay with that, I will be fine. Just let me know. She goes, I don't think you have to do that. I was like, you're right. so we did, but I got some things and we'll go over that when we get home.
I knew this would go underneath. Most of the light is air. You made it look really heavy. Most of the ones. Is this one yours? Yeah. It's called a pickle plant. Pickle plant.
Just a few things. It really wasn't a massive haul, but we didn't need a whole ton of plants. I found some things that I had wanted to grow, or I've been trying to grow for a while. Like I got some lavender and I got some rosemary. I can't seem to keep those alive to save my life through winter. So firstly, this is what I got over at Home Depot yesterday. I had seen last year for the first time that there was such a thing as a pink flowered or red flowered strawberry. Strawberries are in the rose family, so it makes sense. And I have tried to start them from seed before. I have not been successful with that. I saw these at Home Depot and had to get them. It's the first time that I've ever noticed them. There's quite a few plants in this little pot, so I bought more pots, more like hanging pots, so that we can maybe hang these up in the greenhouse. But I thought that was a good find. And then I regret not getting one of these every single year. This is an annual. I just love how the flowers look like a galaxy. The Splash Dance Bolero Blue Petunia. Got some rosemary. Gotta get rosemary every year. I really like rosemary. I just keep letting it get too cold. When we lived in Florida, you could take rosemary through the winter outside. I guess I need to get out of that mindset here in Kentucky, even in the greenhouse. Here's another one that's hard for me to get through winter. This looks like rosemary. It's lavender. Oh, it smells so good. I got 4 of those. And as far as the prices, these were $1.35 a pot.
Can I smell that?
Yes.
Smell it?
Yeah, they smell different. You can pick off a leaf to smell it better. And another thing that I saw that I've been meaning to grow this is stevia.
Can I try one?
Yes, you can try one.
Are they good?
These were also $1.35 per pot. I got 4 of them. This is a way that we can sweeten our teas without sugar, like naturally sweeten them.
Well, can I have one to give to Bentley?
Yep.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever tasted.
Isn't that cool? I've been wanting to grow this. And apparently it's kind of hard to start from seed. Didn't have to. It was very inexpensive.
That is weird. What's it called?
Stevia. That's all for the things that I got for me, or like the farm in general. Addie got this coleus. This is probably going to live inside on her windowsill. And this succulent right here. I forget what these are called. This is what Molly got. A begonia and a few succulents. She said it's a pickle plant?
Yeah, that's the plant with the string of, like, the...
This guy?
Yeah, that's a pickle plant. Can I have my cactuses? I've got 3 cactuses.
Okay, he wants them. So I guess that one's called a pickle plant. I would have called it an icicle plant, some kind of succulent. These spikes are not spiky at all. They're very, very soft. And then you got this guy, another type of succulent.
Mommy, Kobe likes
This one is a hen and chicks. Another little begonia. You're gonna come back for it?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
I'll come back.
And then he got some Sweet Million tomatoes and lunchbox peppers because the kids really like to eat sweet peppers fresh, and I didn't start any myself this year.
He's hungry.
And my other son Bentley ran away, but these were his succulent selections as well as his own flat of the sweet peppers. Now, both places that we picked up plants today have more shade than we do. Even that greenhouse that we were just at. They don't have the shade cloth on their greenhouse, but they have a lot of hanging plants and ferns and things above some of these plants. And in the past, when I've just stuck them out, even in my greenhouse that has a 30% shade cloth, the leaves and things have burned. So what I'm going to do is leave them in the cart and just sort of cart them out into the sun for probably half the day and then put them in the shade. And then the next day I'll give them a couple extra hours of sunlight, put them back in the shade until they're acclimated to full sun, and then they can go in the garden. This is something that I got in the mail recently. This is an arbor rose. It's thornless. Jessica at Roots and Refuge is such an enabler with plants. She went to the zoo in South Carolina and came across this gorgeous vining rose. I mean, massive, big thing. And I had to have one. And so Levi has already made plans to build me a rose arbor for this. This one has gorgeous little yellow flowers. Apparently these grow really fast, but however long it takes, I'm really excited to have a nice shady oasis. We're gonna probably put like a picnic table or something underneath the arbor. Good morning, good morning. I made pumpkin scones for breakfast. I do need to do a dedicated video on that. I don't have a video, but here's the recipe if you want to pause it and take a screenshot. It is time to at least start putting together the butter from the cream that we separated the other day. So out of the 15 gallons that we cream separated, I got 6 of these full quarts plus a little bit. And usually I can get about a pound of butter per quart, so we should get about 6 pounds of butter. I'm probably not going to whip up all 6 pounds of the cream today. I mean, I may, but I may do most of it off camera. We'll do some of it on camera though, so that's the cream. And I like to use my mixer to make butter. There's several different ways that you can make butter. A lot of people like using their food processor. I have done it a couple of times, and while it is less messy, it doesn't whip the cream necessarily. It's the food processors that I have. I've got 2 of them. I've tried both. And it kind of cuts the butter pieces up after they form, and it's not as easy to work with as the butter that I can get out of this. So one of the most important things that I have noticed when I make butter is that it comes together better if I use super cold cream. So this has been sitting in the fridge for a couple of days. Overnight really is plenty of time. And really, for me, if I happen to let the cream sit longer, it's fine. It gets a little bit more sour, which is a flavor that we like in our butter. Cultured butter is something that we used to pay extra money for, and now I get it just because I have a lot going on and the cream sits a little bit longer. It's pretty cool how that works out. I can get away with putting 2 quarts in here and it being not outrageously messy. It's messy regardless. And I don't think I really talked about this before. This is an oil filter loosener thing, wrench I think is what they call it. And I didn't realize what it was. My husband he noticed that I was calling him into the kitchen a lot to help me with some jars. And he bought this for me. Totally works. This here is not butter, it's like thick whipped cream. We still need to go a little bit more. See, it's really thick. It's not quite butter yet. Scraping down the sides so that everything can blend as evenly as possible. Now we've got something that's a little bit looser. It looks kind of like cottage cheese. This is still not butter yet. We are getting closer. And it's not taking long at all. There we go. That's butter. And like in the food processor, this just gets all blitzed up with the buttermilk, and I don't like it as much. I don't like the process as much. See, that wasn't too bad of a mess. This here is the buttermilk. I like to leave this out on the counter for at least half a day and let it thicken up and culture. Cultured buttermilk is the best. Put it in any kind of baking like biscuits. This here is our butter, and there is actually quite a lot of buttermilk in here still, and you'll see a lot of people washing their butter under the sink, and I have done that in the past. For some reason, no matter how cold my water is, even when I've got ice and everything, my butter, when I wash it under the sink, comes out wet. And it's really hard to describe, but it's a much looser butter. Like we have this nice big block. I lose this kind of texture, and I like this texture. That's what I want. And so I have gotten to the point where I'm just squeezing out the buttermilk. Sometimes I'll use my hands. You can use a cloth like this. This is butter muslin. It's made for the job, but I also have some butter paddles that I like a lot. These guys. I am no butter paddle expert, but I do like using them, and I have been practicing with them. I just grab a little bit of the butter because I will drop a bigger piece, and essentially I'm just folding it over on itself and squeezing. Sometimes I'll roll it if I've got a smaller piece. See if I can do it. like this. Kind of just roll the butter along the grooves and allow the grooves to kind of work, whoops, to work the buttermilk out. I don't stress too much about getting every last little bit of buttermilk out of it. In theory, yeah, it lasts longer if you get a lot of the buttermilk out or all of the buttermilk out. It's super hard to get every last little bit of it out when we're doing things by hand instead of with machines. And so I don't stress it too much. And I've never had my butter go bad on the counter. I keep it out in a little 8-ounce or half-pound tub, and we go through it pretty fast enough where I don't ever see it go bad. So I'll put my squeezed butter to the side, and then when I've got it all squeezed, I will salt it at about the same rate that I salted the mozzarella, which I don't know if I mentioned how much salt I was using, but it's about a teaspoon per pound, but play around with that. So I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing here with the butter and hopefully get it all put away today in the freezer. There's plenty more to be done too. I have tons of eggs over here sitting and just waiting to be pickled. But I wanted to let you know, Ruckus did take a good video, the little goat with the camera, and I'm gonna put that up here for you guys. I hope you enjoy the baby goat antics. I'll see you guys again soon.